All right, what is going on, my dude? So the Antman buff is now live. I actually took mine up to rank 3 on the live server because back in the day, I was pretty hardcore on the Antman train when it was that buff between Guillotine and Antman. I was very much so on the Antman side of things. So I've definitely been wanting this guy to have his use in the game, you know, without needing like 4 synergies for quite a bit. So definitely very excited to see Antman finally getting his time to shine in the game. So we're gonna jump in today, check out his damage, check out his utility, check out his usage, see if it could possibly be useful for you. Let's start jumping in right away. Actually, not right away, because let's talk about what this guy does in case you didn't watch the buff breakdown, in case you haven't really checked into him too much. So he's got a lot of immunities now. He has buff immunity, which instantly makes him relevant for many things. He's going to be able to completely bypass buffet, power stack, all those mystics who punish buffs. Just really, really useful. Back last season and the season before in Alliance War, there was the hashtag Defiant attack tactic. Instantly made so many champions just actually viable in war just because they bypass so much stuff. So buff immunity is definitely very strong utility. He also has shock immunity, which is decent. It's decent. There's nice. There's a bunch of shock immune champions now who are really good as well that you probably have in your roster. Same goes for poison immunity. At the end of the day, it is 3 immunities, which is very nice to have. He has a ton of debuffs. Of course, he's going to be really good for diss track and other nodes where you need debuffs and stuff like that. He has very easy access to poison damage, and his poison damage is actually quite nice as well. And he has, in my opinion, a pretty useless petrify on his special 3. I haven't really thought of like a really good use for that yet. Maybe like, you know, backup recovery, power snack node, and Alliance War. But aside from that, there are just better options for that, in my opinion. His Sig ability is definitely very nice. It allows him to keep his stuff up nicer. So even like Sig 20 is like more than enough, in my opinion. Like if we look at this is just Antman isn't updated yet. That's where we would have went. But this is the doc for Sig 200. At Sig 200, dude, this part is like not. This is more defensive, right? So over here, whenever Antman gains a pin particle, he pauses the duration of any personal blah 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 for 4 seconds. That's Sig 200, dude. At Sig 20, it's over 3 seconds, 3.05 seconds. So you really should not be giving any Sig stones to this guy whatsoever. Sig 20, you have him awakened once, you're good to go. So that's nice. I was actually a little worried it was going to be like 1 second, half a second, but this is like more than good enough, I think. But yeah, that's Antman, dude. The typical rotation is you want to go for a special 1 first, depending on the fight length and the synergies you bring. It's going to dictate how many special 1s you want to go for. Then you go for special 2 to convert the debuffs from the special 1 into poisons, and you can pause them by dexing, right, or gaining a buff, and also by intercepting or interrupting their heavy attack, okay? So initially, I wasn't thinking this guy was going to be too useful in Battlegrounds, but I've kind of changed my mind, and I feel like he's going to be really good there because he's going to be able to get around a lot of like the most difficult node metas that we've seen, like power snack, buffet, stuff like that, right? Because he's buff immune. And on top of that, I feel like he's not going to need more than 1 special 1 in there. Like for example, I'll show you the Deadpool fight first. 157,000 health here. This is about a Battleground size health pool, right? So he has synergies that speeds up his ramp if you want to go for max damage. I believe it's the Falcon synergy is going to be doing that. But obviously in Battlegrounds, you get no synergies, right? In War, you could potentially bring synergies in. But for Battlegrounds, it's just 1 and done. You get your 1 champion in there, okay? So let's see. So here, we're going for this Deadpool here. We want to bait out a special attack. Obviously, we're going to go for a special 1, and we're going to place fatigue debuffs, okay? There's also the glancing now on him. Now, I do believe there's a bug currently where he's not able to glance on offense, right? If that debuff is there, like he should be able to block and glance to speed up his ramp up, and he's not able to do that right now. So he might be able to be a little bit faster for this stuff as well. But anyway, here comes a special 2, and I'm going to convert all of these babies into poisons, right? As you can see, that hits a lot harder now. It's nice, or maybe it still hits the same. I don't know. But the point is, the poisons now can pretty much be indefinitely refreshed by intercepting, by countering heavy attacks, and also by just dexing, you can pause them as well. So this health pool went down in about like 55 seconds, give or take a minute, and 56 hits, maybe a little bit longer. But that's definitely right in the time frame for what you need for Battlegrounds. And if the hardest node there is power snack or buffet, right, you have to worry about the defender gaining all this power. You have to worry about them gaining health back. Or if it's like a mystic champion like Mojo or someone who's going to just like punish you for having buffs, Antman's going to be able to completely get around that, which is nice. So that's one reason why I wanted to rank him up personally for my deck in Battlegrounds, for when I do play Battlegrounds. I don't play it too often, but still, I mean, I feel like I've ranked all these champions for Battlegrounds, and there's been all these betas, and I like touched it like a few times, but still. Yeah, I feel like he'll be useful for it. I feel like he might be kind of fun in there. I don't think he's going to be too great on defense, which is definitely a big con, I think, in my opinion. But I think it'll be pretty useful on offense. So when it comes to like Winter Soldier stuff, right? Obviously, we have class disadvantage here, which is going to be hurting our damage by a little bit. But what we're going to be doing here with no synergies, okay? So with no synergies at all, you're going to be gaining the 4 fatigue debuffs per special one. And you can place up to 12 of them. So obviously, you want to build just below 1 special 2, and then you're going to go for a special 1 right into another special 1, okay? So let's watch it. Here, special 1, unblockable with 9 pin particles, cool, all right? Over here, we're going to go right back in. We could place another special 1, or we can just build a little bit more power. Now, I do have the glancing unsteady debuff on Winter Soldier. That's going to go on cooldown on me for 15 seconds. Now, ideally, I want that debuff up when I throw the special 2, so I have increased attack rating on the special 2, more debuff, more attack rating. I do believe that's how it works. Or it might be more pin particles, more attack rating. Either way, that's how we're going to do it. It works out just fine. We're going to go for the final special 1 right before the cooldown is over. So now the next time I go for a special attack, we should be able to place that debuff, okay? We have all 9 pin particles. Now we can refresh these fatigues if we need be, right? Or we can just pause it for 3 seconds every time we dex. How about that? Nice, right? Here, we can go for an intercept and refresh them. We have to dex 1 more time so we can gain our 9 pin particles, and now we're going to turn these bad boys into poisons. Here's the satisfying payoff. Now, I feel like for something there's going to be like some sort of Eternity of Pain type fight right in the future. Look at this. We're doing 7k poison damage per second. Indefinitely at this point, right? So he takes a second to ramp up, no doubt about it. But this is definitely, I feel like, has potential for the future, like for literally for Eternity of Pains type stuff, that type of content, where like once you finish your ramp up, you can literally dex like this over and over without even touching the defender, and you're never going to lose those poisons. So that has potential, I think. You know, you're not going to want to do that kind of stuff in like war, probably, maybe not, maybe you will. I don't know, maybe just put like 1 stack of poisons in war, you can do that. I just feel like there are better champions for that kind of thing in general. But as you can see, Winter Soldier's health is just draining down, man. Like, he's not the fastest Winter Soldier fighter here, obviously. He's not like the highest damage per second champion in the game by a long shot. But I kind of like how he can do that with the keeping the poisons up indefinitely once you are infinitely ramped, which I like. So there are definitely some synergies that he can do some better things with, and I'll show you what they do here. So over here with Falcon, hi, I'm Scott. Nice callback to, what movie was that? Was that Avengers? No, was that Civil War? I think it was Civil War. So each of the special 1 has 100% chance to place a fragility debuff that's going to definitely just increase his critical damage rating by a little bit, which is nice to have. But this is actually the important one, I think, in my opinion. Now, funny enough, this one was changed. I was saying when we were breaking down the buff, I have a feeling the synergy is going to change, and it used to be like plus a certain amount of attack for every debuff on the defender, but now it's double the number of pin particles gained and fatigue debuffs applied by the special 1. So what this is essentially doing is, if you want that max ramp up, when you get the extra debuffs on the special 1, you are going to take away 1 of the 3 special 1s needed to hit that ramp. Or if you're happy with just 8 poisons, which is probably more than enough in most scenarios, right? If you're doing like Alliance War with the Ghost Trinity, Ghost, Antman, and Wasp, and you need buff immunity or you need poison immunity, well, you can use Ghost for poison immunity, right? But if there's like EMP modification, right, something like that, well, then you could just go for 1 special 1, 1 special 2, and that's going to be enough, man. So the Ghost Trinity in War just got definitely better, in my opinion, right? Also over here, well, that's a Ghost synergy with Wasp, but this one over here, right, with Antman and Ghost, plus 25% attack at the start of the fight if Wasp, Antman, and Ghost are together on the team. Also, when causing a hit to glance, gain a Fury passive, increasing attack by 25% for 12 seconds. But that's not working right now. It's not working. It's not glancing things right on offense. So that's definitely going to increase his damage by quite a bit. Unfortunately, we don't know when that's going to be fixed, right? So like you know, maybe we'll make an updated video when it's fixed, but probably we won't. And then over here, I do believe this one was toned down by a little bit too. I think it used to be 35%, increase the potency of poisons by 20%. I don't think that tune down was entirely necessary, but I guess his poison damage is pretty much like infinite at this point. But yeah, let's jump into the fight now. So you're going to notice that the ramp up is going to be so much faster, right? Because we want to build up to, and this is, again, we're going for like max damage here. And again, we have class disadvantage here, right? So we definitely have some nerfed damage as well because we have minus 20% attack. So I believe that's what class disadvantage is 20%, and then advantage is 20%. But as you can see here, right? Check it out. Our fatigues, definitely higher. We have 10. I don't really know where the other 2 came from. I feel like there might be like a bug going on one of these synergies. After the special one, we gained a fatigue there. So I'm not sure what that's about. I feel like that's a bug, but regardless, we're going to want to go for 2 special ones because it's 8 fatigues and then 8 fatigues. And as you can see, right, the yellow numbers are definitely higher from the Falcon synergy. Unfortunately, that debuff can't be paused or refreshed with the other ones. I really wish that it could. I feel like that would be a really nice addition to his kit, but it is what it is, right? Here we're going to go for the special 2 already after 2 special ones. No crit, I don't believe. Oh, crit, 40k, nice. And now the poison damage is doing 9k per second. So that's a lot of damage. Like, that is a lot of damage over time that is just not going away. So for the rest of this fight, I actually said to myself, like, let's see if we can just, like, let's see if this can kill him without hitting him any longer, right? So what we're doing here is at Sig 20, we're going to pause the debuffs for 3 seconds every time. Keep in mind, we can refresh them with an intercept, right? But all you have to do is this, like you're playing Spidey 2099. Obviously, I enjoy that playstyle quite a bit, but look at his health is just rinsing, dude. So that's like solid, you know, that's really solid. And of course, you can do that without synergies as well. But it's definitely much better with, because it's 7,000 damage about every second without synergies, 9,000 with. At the end of the day, man, I mean, that's both of those are a lot of damage. I mean, in 60 seconds with 7,000 per second, we're looking at like 420,000 damage per minute. And I definitely just put that into a calculator. So, all right, so now let's check out how he does against the Mystic class, some of the harder Mystics in the game. As I said, he's immune to shock, also no buffs, so you don't even really need... I feel like the shock immunity is kind of here for, like, to counter Dr. Doom, it feels, but he's also immune to buffs, so, you know, you don't really need it. But anyway, regardless, right? No dexterity, no shock. Also, there's other shock things in the game as well. EMP modification, right? But of course, you counter that with no buffs as well. I'm sure there's going to be usage for being shock immune in the future. I'm sure you have many shock immune champions in your roster already, but that's one thing. If you don't have it, Antman does have it, which is definitely something nice to have. But again, no buffs kind of counters that, I feel like. I found that in like many scenarios, right? So that's Dr. Doom. One thing, of course, you know, being immune to buffs is essentially being immune to Nullify versus Ebony Maw. So he's going to go for the special one here. Look at Antman. It's going to say immune, right? Because Ebony Maw places the Fury on you with the special one, and then he nullifies it with his next special one. So that's not going to happen. No degen damage against Ebony Maw unless you hit into his miss. But keep in mind, one piece of utility we didn't talk about is that when you have the unsteady debuff active on the opponent, you can't miss. So you could potentially counter Ebony Maw like that. Man-Thing will not be able to do anything to you whatsoever because you're going to be immune to buffs, so you can't gain the buffs, so he can't nullify you, so he can't put poisons on you. Of course, same thing for Dormammu here. This is why no buffs is a very, very, very powerful piece of utility. It's one of the main reasons why I love Spidey so much. Because he just turns so many Mystic champions into potatoes, which is just so nice, man, which is so nice. So yeah, I mean, obviously, if I had to choose between Antman and Spidey, I think you know who I would choose, right? But Antman's doing a pretty decent job against these Mystics, man. If you don't have that buff immunity utility in your roster and you have an Antman sitting there, man, you might want to consider it because it's very nice to have. It's very nice to have. So same thing from Mojo here. We're actually going to be triggering his anti-life field, right? And look, there's no buffs. There's just no buffs, man, which is just so nice. I really do love it quite a bit because I feel like Mystic probably has like the most annoying defenders. And when you can turn off their main source of like being annoying, it's great. And the same thing goes for like Mystic Dispersion Mastery and Alliance War and Battlegrounds as well. Like you just completely don't have to worry about that. It's one reason why Mystics require like a very specific counter is that Mystic Dispersion Mastery, right? So when you completely turn it off, it's nice. So that's like for a couple of endgame fights, right, in the game. We'll do a few more things here, then we're going to call it. So this path right here in 6.3, it really feels like Antman might be the best option here, man. Check it out. So Acid Wash and EMP Modification. That's really cool. It's also Toxicant, but this is like everything. Like usually when I go to show you EMP Modification, I go past Scarlet Witch because most shock immune or buff immune champions are not also immune to poison, but we are. And Scarlet Witch puts poison on you, and also if she hits you, you can put a poison, right? And I'm very blurry right now. I don't know why I'm blurry, but let's use Rintra to fix that. We fixed. I don't know if we're fixed, but we'll fix it after this fight. Regardless, right? She's going to be power draining us. She's going to be doing all this stuff. But we can't be harmed here by the poison. We can't be harmed here by EMP modification. So this is the type of thing where it's like, yeah, you know, like his damage isn't like amazing, but he definitely has some solid utility, which could potentially be useful for you. But also keep in mind, if you have a big roster, you probably have a lot of these holes filled. So just keep that in mind before jumping into ranking up this guy. So make sure you look at your roster as a whole. Say, do I need this utility? Do I need shock immunity? Do I already have Spidey ranked up? Do I want another buff immune champion? Do I care about Alliance War? Do I care about Battlegrounds? Because that's where I feel like it's going to be most useful. So if I don't care about those things, maybe I don't rank them up. So this, you got to definitely, in my opinion, I mean, do as I say, not as I do. Never jump the gun when it comes to buffs and new champs and everything when it comes to ranking up, because you really want to make sure that they're going to fill a nice hole in your roster, and it's going to be very individual for everybody. Personally, I just like the character, and that's kind of like how I'm ranking nowadays. It's like, if it's going to make me happy to rank a champion, I'm going to rank them, right? So yeah, everyone has their own reasons for doing rankings, but this is a buffet. This is a also energize and do not go gentle, all this fun stuff, right? So basically what I'm going to be showing you here is that if this is buffet or power snack or anything like that, it's turned off, which is so good. That's why like I've said it so many times now, buff immunity is so good, because it counters so much more than just like gaining buffs, not gaining buffs, you know? It's very strong, but keep in mind, I didn't test it. I actually don't have a Wiccan at all, any rarity on my account here, but I do believe he won't be able to counter Wiccan. I believe that's still just Quicksilver territory, right? Or I guess now there's like a change to neutralize or something like that, so ability, accuracy, immune reduction, immune champion should be able to parry Wiccan freely. But yeah, so Antman, as it says dexterity, right? So I believe if he tries to dex while he has the neutralize up against Wiccan, he will... Oh, wait a minute, though. Doesn't Wiccan put shocks on you? Or is it incinerates? I think it's incinerates. I got excited for a second. I was like, oh, he can counter Wiccan. No, he can't. He can't do that. I mean, like, just don't parry and you could, but, you know. Easier said than done sometimes. But anyway, point is, right? This is a lot of power gain here. We're going to go for a special 2 with only fatigue debuffs up. I am so blurry. Let me fix this, please. And it fixed on its own. You love to see it. So here we go. We're going to convert these bad boys into a nice, come on, a nice poison right over here. And now it's doing about 5k per second. So I'm just going to let it do its thing here. I'm trying to get rid of the do not go gentle charges. It's not happening, right? So as you can see, this is like an Act 6 health pool now. He has a very solid damage output for Act 6 health pools, man. This is, I threw this in here too. It's a duel with I-Bomb, just because I didn't really show you like poison immunity much, right? But yeah, he's going to be good for poison immunity, which is nice. As you can see, we're pushing I-Bomb up to a special 2. Now, one thing in this fight that I realized here is that, you know, I feel like his damage is definitely going to be, and his ramp up is definitely going to be a lot better. Like right here, watch, we're not going to be able to glance when we're blocking this entire special 2. Watch. Right? So now, if we're glancing that, we're going to be placing fatigues on the opponent. And that's going to eliminate the need for more than one special 1 if you glance a bunch. So you might just have to go one special 1, one special 2 for max ramp, which is definitely going to make him a lot better, I think. But yeah, overall, I think it's definitely an improvement for him solo. The Sam Wilson like synergy thing with Ghost and Wasp and everything used to be really fun for like longer fights. Like I said in the buff breakdown, I didn't feel like that was like super duper practical. I didn't see anybody like really using it for like real content much. I feel like it's more of like a YouTube synergy where it's like, oh my god, look at all this big damage, and it's definitely really fun to watch, but I don't see anybody like actually completing content with that synergy. So that's why I haven't seen too many people upset that it got changed. I thought that more people were going to be a little annoyed about it. At first I was like, I don't really understand why it got changed. I feel like there was room to like leave it in, but I guess, man, if you like converted, like, dude, I mean, think about it for a second. With synergies, right, it was like 9k damage per second, like infinitely, with only 12 poisons. If you like had, let's do some math. Let's do some math here, dude. If you ramped up a little bit more, right, and you like really kept it going, and you had 48 fatigues only, you're looking at like 36,000 poison damage over time per second. But I mean, like, Storm can do that. I don't know, man. I don't know, dude. But yeah, anyway, Antman, I actually put it into this this OBS scene on accident, but it kind of works out kind of nicely. I feel like it looks it's a nice frame. Might do this more in the future. I like it. But yeah, that's how you want to use this guy. That's what he can do. Does he fit a hole in your roster? That's for you to decide, man. You probably have him. He's old. He's much better on his own. He's going to be usable in Battlegrounds now, I think. He's going to be usable in War now, I think. He's decent overall. Cool. I think it's pretty cool, man. So yeah, that's it for this one. I do hope you enjoyed it. If you did, drop your boy a big old like. Let me know what you think about the buffed Antman in the comment section below. I'm curious how you feel about the Sam Wilson change thing, right? The ghost synergy change as well. Let me know what you think. Are you digging Antman? Have you been looking for a shock or poison immune or even buff immune champion in your roster that Antman is now fulfilling? Let me know. I'm curious to hear. That's it for this one. Seeing you around.